This episode of Off My Shelf contains coarse language and adult conversation. Listener discretion is advised. Hello, my name is Tracy James, and welcome to Off My Shelf, a podcast about movies that are, well, off my shelf, where we go through my DVDs and talk about the movies in my collection. In this episode, Alix Cook is here to talk about a couple critically and commercially acclaimed movies, Almost Famous and American Beauty. Welcome!
Hi, everybody. Thanks, Tracy. I was wondering if you were going to rescind my invitation after the Gong Show of the Christmas episode, so I'm doubly glad to be here today.
There are so many invitations I'd have to rescind if I did that, so that I'd have no podcast. So I'm glad you still managed to show up. We'll try to not be as ridiculous. No, we'll probably still be as ridiculous. I'm okay with it.
Different ridiculous.
Different ridiculous, yeah. Especially with these two movies, it's definitely a different kind of ridiculous
Slightly
when you're talking about
tone.
them. Feel overall. But one of them does start at Christmas, so, you know.
That's true. Yes. And who doesn't love the Chipmunks?
Oh my god, as soon as I started, I was just like, oh, Christmas.
I actually face-palmed. I always forget that's at the intro to the movie. And then I was like, oh god, I love this, but it's terrible.
I did not remember that at all. Like, not in any way, shape, or form. It was just, like, I put it in and I was like, what's happening? Is this right? And it did turn out to be right. So I was kind of happy with that, yes.
It did.
So, that's good.
All right.
Yeah, so, well, I guess... Yeah, we've already started talking about Almost Famous, so we can just keep going.
But actually, can I start off by making trouble? Because that's what I do.
Yes, you can.
I know it's supposed to be in alphabetical order, but can we please deal with American Beauty first? I don't want to go home in a haze of Kevin Spacey, and I don't want him anywhere near Patrick Fugit. That is for sure.
Well, okay, so fine then. We'll go in chronological order then? Yes. Well, because this one, 1999, so it's 20 years old this year.
Oh.
What? 20th anniversary of weird creepiness.
Oh my god.
You messaged me while you were watching this, and I know I keep telling people not to talk about it before we do the podcast.
Well, I didn't say much.
No, you didn't, but you were just like, I forgot how messed up this movie was. And I have to admit, when I watched it the other day as well, I was just like, oh yeah.
Yeah. It's really something.
Something is probably the best word to describe it.
I mean, at the time that it came out, it made perfect sense to me because I'm about the same age as Thora, Birch, and Mena Suvari.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, obviously I was creeped out by some of the creepy parts, but your neighborhood video camera aficionado was like, wow, he's so deep and interesting, as opposed to red flag, call the cops.
So I actually was a little bit older when I was in my first year university when this came out. And I remember me and my friend taking a break from school because we were going crazy. And it was like a 2:00 showing of the movie. And I'd known a couple of people who'd already seen it. And they're just like, whatever you think it is, I can't explain it to you. But you can't, there's no expectation to this. There's just
so much going on.
Yeah.
And most of it in different directions.
Exactly.
Bananas.
And I remember watching it and then walking out the movies going, I loved it. Because it was just so different from a lot of the things that were coming out of that time period. And then the other thing was like, oh, it's so complex. It's so deep. And I watch it now and I'm just like, I still like it in a different way because it makes me very uncomfortable.
Yeah.
But also, it's not that deep.
No. It's just a festival of male insecurity.
Yes. And that's, it's very true. Yeah.
Yeah, it's weird. It's strange that, I mean, Kevin Spacey's character was creepy then, he's creepy now, will be creepy into eternity.
Mm-hmm.
But I had more patience for him as the teenager on whom he would have been macking than I do as an adult. I'm just like, oh man, pull yourself together.
Well, yeah.
My very first note on the movie is, ugh, that stupid gobsmacked face.
My first note of the movie is the intro music is so whimsical and mysterious.
I do love the soundtrack.
Yes,
the
it's
soundtrack
so fantastic.
Is not,
yeah,
it's not to be questioned. It's delightful. Even
if
you think
even like
a bag blowing through the trash.
This was the movie when they're sitting at dinner and listening to Bali High and stuff. This is the movie that made me track down South Pacific and like listen to some of the music, and I'm like, oh, I actually like this stuff.
Wow,
it's really good.
Sideways route to Rogers and Hammerstein.
I love that. I like one of my worst things about me. I think like you know me. I love movies, and I sit through them and I look at them and I mean, yeah, I analyze them. I'm not denying the fact, but my whole thing is I like to enjoy the experience of watching a movie. So it could be a technically garbage movie like The Meg, but I can enjoy the shit out of it. Okay, because I enjoyed every minute of that movie, but I will never say it's quality.
Sometimes a gleeful dumpster fire is what you want.
What you want, exactly. But I have a very specific thing about black and white movies that frustrate me. And it's not
overacted and horrible in general?
It's more than that. It's true. But there are some of them that are, like, they still have good stories and stuff in them. And over the years, of course, I've watched several of them. But one thing that drives me crazy is I spend the whole movie trying to figure out what the scene looks like in color. And I find it so distracting that I just don't watch them.
Oh.
It's a very bad thing.
Well, thank you for ruining black and white movies for me forever.
That's welcome. A really good point. Because I really do. Like, I sit there and I'm like, for example, the movie Some Like It Hot. I love that movie. I think it's a great movie, right? And I was surprised the first time I watched it how much I liked it. Because, of course, like, I usually just get distracted and I'm just like, oh, I can't look at this anymore because I don't know if her dress is green. Fine. But, like, the thing about it, like, they play a lot with texture in that movie, like, especially, like, her dresses and stuff, and, like, their costumes always have, like, feathers, and her things are sequins,
the old Hollywood silhouettes didn't come out of nowhere.
Like, exactly, right? And I think that's the thing that distracted me from the lack of color, but there are definitely parts in that movie, like there's parts where they're on like, the veranda in the hotel, and there's the beach, and there's palm trees, and you're just like, ooh, I wonder if it's colonial and it's white, but it probably has a color on it, and then the trees are green, and then she's like running in like a striped bathing suit, and you're like, ooh, what color are the stripes? And blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, well, I guess, we're used to picking up those subconscious messages. It's like if you see like part of a film or TV and it doesn't have the score in it, you're like, I think I know what I'm supposed to be feeling, but I don't know. Like, maybe there should be sneaking up music and I'm about to get clobbered. What's going on here? Yeah. Oh, no, we're just having dinner. Never mind.
Yeah, right? But the funny thing is, like, that kind of emotional music didn't come into normalcy until, like, the 60s, 70s. And if you watch stuff before that, there's long periods of most films that's just, ambient sound and people talking. What?
It's a little bit of a departure from the current. Yeah. As much as you can fit in, every spare second has 87 layers. Yeah.
Exactly, right? But so that's my whole roundabout way of saying I didn't get to Rodgers and Hammerstein because the movie's in black and white. So that's why it went that way to the music.
Oh, done. Well, that's super rad. I love that. I mean, that's how you get exposed to new things, right? Yeah. Like, oh, this is interesting.
I always find stuff like that interesting, like, especially, like, something's in the background of a scene or in a movie or referenced to in a song. Just like, what is that exactly? And go look it up.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's fun to do.
Yeah. I love doing that with, like, actors or musicians that I like in an interview, and they're like, oh, I love this album. Oh, all right. Guess I better look that up.
Done and done.
Let's check it out.
One of the reasons why I watched the movie Harvey. Because John Green, the author / podcaster / generally smart guy.
Town, yes.
Yeah. One of his, from a few years ago, his post was one of the movies that changed his life was that movie. Somebody had recommended it to him. And it allowed him to be more himself after watching it.
Oh.
If I remember it correctly.
Cool. Okay.
And I was just like, well, yeah, that's a movie I should look at.
Yeah, that's definitely worth exploring. Even if it doesn't do the same thing for you, it might give you a deeper understanding of someone you admire. So
exactly, and it really did. Yeah, and it's a great movie, I must admit. So
I have not had the pleasure. Perhaps I will add it to my list.
Again, it's black and white. It's overacted, but it definitely for that time period, some things in it are quote unquote normal, but is horrific in today's standards, okay?
Well, that's inevitable.
That's inevitable. That's just, exactly.
Unfortunately, how the passage of time works.
But I also think that's the point of part of the movie is showing that, like, why do people think this is normal? This is horrific. So I'm trying not to give it away. So I'm not telling you any part of it.
No spoilers, please. Yeah. I'm only 60 years behind on this.
That's it. Spoiler alert.
Yeah. Well, it was, I mean, bringing that back to American Beauty, like, speaking of things that are now horrifying that weren't, like, I definitely watched that movie with my parents, and they were like, I mean, I guess there was probably some discussion of the inherent creepiness, but, like, anyone watching that with their parents today would be having a capital T talk afterwards. Oh, yes. Like, very much so. But yeah, so much of it was
stay
just
away from your friends' fathers. Done.
Yeah. Also, no, so many things.
There's so many things.
She's not a good friend to you. Your boyfriend's a creep. Mm-hmm. God knows about the neighbors. Yeah. I mean, you know, Scott Bakula's a dream. But the other side, not so good.
Okay, I must admit I was really happy to see Scott Bakula because it made an excuse for me to talk about Star Trek.
I know.
But also, John Cho was in there.
I know.
Who plays
I
Sulu.
Actually shrieked at my television. I was like, I see you.
It took me, like, because at first you don't see him face on. You see the side of his head. I'm like, wait, is that... Yeah. It totally is. Yeah. You know?
I got wildly excited. Yeah, the cast of this movie is amazing.
It's
both
fantastic.
Of these movies. It's
yes.
like, I completely forgot that Allison Janney was in it. Mm-hmm. I was just like, oh, right. Yeah. Another creepy thread that's just dangling in my memory. Yeah, okie dokie.
I still feel horrific about, what's her name? Barbara in it. It's just so sad. Like, something obviously... I don't think it's, like, random... She hit her head and now she's weird. I think it's something horrific has happened to her that has made her that way. But they never, there's not really a need to, and I think it would have kind of like ruined the quote unquote flow of the movie if they did. But at the same time, it leaves you questioning so much. Well, like, what happened?
Yeah, because the father is so messed up that it's like, is he responsible for this? Or is he responding to this? Like, is this like a medical thing that happened and he's not dealing well? Or like, did he cause this, some injury? Like, yeah.
I have a feeling that he did something to her and that's why she's that way.
That's the implication, but it's also, I mean, I don't know. It's not necessarily what happened.
That's true, yeah. But, like, I mean, just looking at his reactions to even small things that are extreme. Like, I mean, even the scene in the car where they're driving and he's talking about the neighbors. And he's like, well, they don't find it anything to be embarrassed about, and he just gets so visibly angry.
Well,
you find out why.
That one is a particular sore spot. That's not just random temper. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I don't know. It's such a weird character dynamic too with the son because I mean, whatever, the overbearing military father is closeted and crazy. Like that's not that weird. But when like after things all fall apart and he's trying to get Janney to run away with him.
Yes.
And she's like, well, what do we do? Or whatever. And he's like, oh, I have $40,000 saved. And it's like, this kid didn't just need rehab. He needed prison. Like, what kind of crazy drug deals is he doing if he's got that much money saved at, like, 17?
Yeah, but like, you saw what he, like, sold the neighbor for, like, $3,000. Yeah, it's true. Military grade, but I'm like, $3,000? But
to work your way up to the connections where you can afford to sell 2 grams for $3,000? Like, what is this kid into? It makes it look like his father's unreasonable and he's totally normal, but, like, I don't know who he's associating with, but they can't be good.
Yeah, but the thing is, like, too, it sort of seems like he went to that extreme so he could be able to leave. Because it's like, it seems at the end when his father's just like, you tell me what's going on or you leave this house right now and never come back. And he's like, are you serious? I can leave? Like, you don't want me here if I tell you this? And then he just tells him. So he gets to walk out. And he was waiting for that permission to leave, which is surprising to me based on his overall character throughout the movie. Yeah. But yeah, it was still
just a kid. I mean,
yeah,
a very financially savvy drug dealing kid, but a kid nonetheless.
Yes. Yeah.
And there's his mom to consider, of course. course.
Yeah, which he clearly was broken about when he was leaving.
Sure.
Yeah.
I think that's maybe one of the reasons that I wasn't sure, like, how much of her stuff was actually trauma-related, just because they both have that weird, like, blank stare focus on, like, some of the way he behaves kind of mimics the way she does, where he just, like, zones in on something, and it's just like, I'm gonna talk in a monotone, I don't really have feelings, I'm just observing the world as it comes, whatever, like.
But that also makes me think that
some of it's a defense mechanism,
but
some of it's like an inherent weirdness.
But that might also be because she may have been that way for a really long time.
Yeah, that's true.
Like during in his formidable years where he's picking up those kinds of things.
I kind of got the impression they moved for the fresh start for her as well as him.
I guess.
Right.
Well, they said what happened. It was what was it?
I don't know. I should have taken better notes.
So no, he used to go to school with the friend.
Oh yeah.
What's her face?
I don't know.
Yeah, and then what happened is that he lost it because his father lost it on him.
Yeah.
And then they sent him to an institution, drugged him up for a year straight, and then they put him in military school for 2 years, right? So really it's only been about 3, maybe 4 years since they've been away from that area.
That's true.
And then he's back.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. There's so many questions about that whole situation in general.
Yeah.
Because, I understand there's been so many portrayals of military parents in movies and TV shows and all that kind of stuff. And yes, they're all strict and they're all follow rules and have a tidy bed and sure. Blah, blah, blah. Or they're completely opposite. They're shell-shocked when they come back and they're into drugs and whatever. Right. There's 2 extremes. But most of the time, they're not violent towards their own kids. They're extremely violent to anybody who endangers their family, usually. That's what I'm remembering right now from the military movies I'm seeing.
The violent veteran father trope is pretty common as well. Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah.
That whole it's an interesting contrast. Oh my god, I can't speak. The details of that are pretty sparse. It's mostly just one blob of exposition and then that's it. And it's just all right, this weird wind up toy family is just kind of interacting around each other in this odd pattern. Yeah. Whereas next door, we get arguably more than we want to know about the inner workings I know he's the protagonist, whatever, but it's an interesting contrast, and it's neat the way they did it.
But that's the thing, I don't really think it's a contrast. I actually think that both of the families have the exact same dynamic, right?
Oh, sure, there's overshare in one family and very minimal exposition in the other. Yeah. We know every thought that Kevin Spacey has, much to our occasional chagrin.
But that's because you're supposed to, right? Because it's you're in his head. That's the whole point. Yeah.
But it's just it's just interesting to watch it play out. You have so much of an idea of what's happening on one side of the fence and a lot of questions about the
other side, yeah.
Then when they interact, obviously.
And I think too is if we had more answers on the other side of the fence,
it wouldn't be satisfying.
No. And either this movie would just be more offensive, or it would just be so heavy, you know what I mean? Just so depressingly oh my god.
Yeah, it would drag. It doesn't drag. It's a very jaunty movie considering the subject matter.
It's got a very quick pace to it.
It does. And it's especially with, what is this character's name? Why am I drawing a complete blank? I just keep calling him Kevin Spacey, which
I'm gonna pretend I wrote it down, and no, I didn't write it down.
Oh, okay. Well, anyway, it doesn't matter. I'm sure I'll remember it in the middle of a sentence later.
Lester.
Yes. Of course. I was trying to picture Carolyn Bennett.
Burnham.
Yes. Yeah, I was trying to picture her yelling it. It wasn't working out. Oh, what is it? I love, one of the things I loved most about the movie when I first watched it, and I sort of found myself loving anyway, despite all the issues, is his attitude. Even when he's being a real jerk, that scene at the dinner table where she's ranting about him losing his job, and he's it's not whoops, where did my job go? I quit!
Yeah.
I've always loved that line.
I love that part.
Hilarious. I quote that sometimes.
Yeah, I loved that scene up until he threw the plate he
I kind of like that because that sort of he didn't actually like. I mean, okay, rude and loud, but not throwing it at anybody, not causing any actual damage. It was like a storm in a bottle, which is a hilarious metaphor for his whole frustrated little life.
Yeah, but I don't know. Like literally up until the point he threw the plate, I was totally with him. I was just like, yeah, I get it. I'm like, you are taking control of your life and you're doing what you need to do and blah, blah, blah. And he's being kind of like funny about it and sarcastic, and she's just getting angry and angry and angry because he's like, I don't understand what your problem is. Yeah. And like the dog, like I love the tennis match head that Jane has. Like she's just back and forth, like, what is going on?
Well, yeah, because nobody ever pays attention to him, right? So
that's true.
That's his big moment, which really should be Janie's moment, but
what are you gonna do, right?
He's not a terribly mature protagonist.
Oh no,
obviously.
No. Like that, like he full on. That was a midlife crisis. That's exactly what that was. He's like, it's a little girl thinks I'm cute and I'm gonna flirt with her, so I'm gonna work out and then get a nice red car and be as cool as possible. Yeah, quit my job, and like he literally regressed to in high school. I worked at a burger joint, and I want to be that kid again. That's all he did.
His interactions with, I've forgotten her name too. Like he's the one who's acting like a teenager. She's totally calm. She's like, I know what's going on here. I'm gonna play this to my advantage, and he's just like a dribbling moron, right?
Yeah. That's true.
He is like he was reduced back to adolescence, and then was like, "What was cool when I was a teenager?" Although I gotta say that whole like ridiculous burger job thing is so worth it for that scene in the drive-thru.
Oh yeah, I love that she's like, "You are so busted." It's like, this is none of your business. Well, she's actually assistant manager, so you are kind of on her turf. I laughed so hard. I was like, that is so good.
It's just and he doesn't even care. It's great. Like he's just like, whatever, you're never gonna tell me what to do again. And then
at that point he has no reason to care. Like I don't have to do anything for you.
Yeah, when Chris Cooper asks where his wife is, and he's like, I don't know, she's off fucking that dorky Prince of Real Estate asshole, and I don't care. And it's like
he's like, you don't care.
I can sort of see like after that conversation why you would totally write somebody off. like they already aren't talking or sleeping together or having anything in common, and then also to like see what she's like with somebody else. It's just like, oh, I don't even want that back.
Yeah, you're just like, no, I'm good.
No,
I'm
she's
good.
A mess.
Yeah. But one thing I did like about Angela was as soon as like she talks to like Carolyn, like the mother, she's like, she's so fake. And it's true. She's just has this show on all the time. Yeah. And you're just like, you need to just take it down a notch. Yeah. Like, seriously, just come down from whatever cloud you're on. Yeah. Like, it's kind of ridiculous how crazy she is with that.
Well, and you can see the cracks. Yeah. Right? Like, and her real estate showing and stuff where she's getting, like, progressively squirrelier. Like,
kind of twitchy, you know?
Yeah.
Like, and she's like, I can do whatever you want. Oh, these are shrubs? We can get a landscaper in.
Sure.
She's like, but there's no lagoon.
What about this? Is this not a plant?
Yeah, she's definitely losing it. But I think she felt exactly the same as Lester. Yeah. But neither of them wanted to, she wasn't listening to him, and she couldn't admit that she was not in a good place because they are supposed to have everything they're supposed to have.
Right, yeah, she's marking milestones and not looking at the reality.
Yes.
Which is a big problem for a lot of people. I mean, it's like a totally relatable thing. Yeah. Even as a teenager, I was like, yeah, okay, I get that. Like, ask me what university I'm going to again. I dare you. I double dog dare you. Like, I get it.
Yeah, there was so much, like, and that's the thing about this movie, that this movie is weird, and of course it's an extreme, but there's so much to relate to in this movie overall with the characters, because even Lester being weird and creepy and all that kind of stuff, his job is like the movie Office Space. That's it. That's Office Space in like 5 minutes. Yeah. Boom, he wants out. Right? Or even like Fight Club, where he like threatens his boss to get like paid for a year,
Oh man.
It's that whole thing.
Yeah. Can we talk about how the scene with threatening Brad with sexual harassment is not funny anymore, and I still laughed. I was like, oh, I'm a terrible person.
I was like, yo, I laughed too.
Like, the scene was so, it was so different from everything else that was happening at that point, and it was, like, just brilliant, because you can see the character, too, just being like, oh my god, I walked myself right into this corner.
Yeah.
Like,
you're like, what am I supposed to do?
It's like, I treated this guy like an idiot, and he's not, and now I'm in trouble.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because he went totally off script. And,
and what's different about it, too, for that time period and for now, is that, you know, it's not, you know, Me Too, what do you call it? Like, false female accusers. Like, it's not that level. It's a completely different dynamic because it's two men.
Yeah.
But what's weird about it is Kevin Spacey's current predicament.
Well,
that makes it really uncomfortable, you know?
Because it's
and I'm
like
just like,
a
oh
movie
no.
about him perving on a teenage girl where, like, it's a throwaway sort of plot joke that he threatens this guy with sexual harassment. And it's like, oh, he's actually assaulting teenagers.
Teenage boys.
Teenage boys.
Yeah, which is just...
on camera.
I think also, like, as soon as, like, that aspect of it... Like, because when an actor is an actor, no matter how creepy their role is, but when you realize they're kind of that person, and you're just like, ew.
Yeah, like, that was such a huge moment for his career and whatever. Like, he just nailed that performance so hard. He won the Oscar, yeah?
Mm-hmm. I think so.
Yeah. He won an Oscar, and I don't know what else it would have been for. But, yeah, like, he did such a great job, and somebody else in that role, like, it would have, like, that movie could have fallen apart so easily. Oh,
so easily. Very, very easily.
But they had, like, this, you know, middle-aged white marquee star, tromping his insecurities all over in, like, an interesting and creative way. Hollywood loved it. Critics loved it. People loved it. Unfortunately, the reason that he was so good at it
it's because he knew all
they had a little
about
more
it.
in common than anybody really wanted to acknowledge.
Which is just all kinds of horrible.
It really is. I mean, it makes me feel better about him filming those scenes with Mena Suvari, because he probably actually was respectful because he wasn't interested.
Yes, he did win Best Oscar for this. So the movie won Best Picture, Best Actor, Best Director, Best Writing, Best Cinematography. Gracious. The cinematography is beautiful in this video.
Yes. Yeah. There's so much to love about it, but at the same time, it's such a disaster.
It really is. It really is. One thing I found really interesting about the movies is a lot of scenes are set up like play sets.
Yep.
Which kind of was like... That's kind of the part that draws you into it, because you feel like you're watching something that's live. You know, as soon as it's set up like a play.
Sure.
And there's this
mirrors what they're going through too.
Yeah. And like, I know they're moving, like, there's certain parts where they're moving from scene to scene. It's definitely not a play, but like the scene at dinner, the scene in like his office, the scene in like when he's first working out in the garage and stuff like that. It's just, I just love the way they set up a bunch of it, you know? Like, even like the scene at the school where like what's her face, Jane and Angela are like talking to each other when they first meet the next door neighbor Ricky, and like they're just leaning against the fence. It's just like plain white, and they're just talking to each other, trying to be all cool with their smoking and whatever. And Angela's just being gross. Literally, I have my comment: Angela is so gross. That's my comment about her.
Yeah, she is.
She is.
Well, yeah. I mean, she's just as insecure as everybody else, but she's like more angry about it. I don't know. She's taking it out on other people. She's awful. Why are she and Jane friends? They have nothing in common, and they're just hideous to each other.
One thing insecure people always have to go through is somebody who's more insecure, but more of an extrovert, controlling them for a long period of time before they burst out of that, you know, because there's a certain point where you're just like, no, this person's my friend because they talk to me, I get to ride in their car, they give me stuff sometimes, you know, and all I have to do is sit there and listen to them. And then afterwards you realize I'm not getting anything out of this, and then you break it off, you know, and that's literally what's happening. Well, but everybody goes through that.
Janie transfers her loyalty to Ricky very quickly.
Oh, yeah.
Despite him being a complete weirdo.
Well, I think it has more to do with the fact that, like she says, she feels invisible all the time, and it's finally somebody who actually looks at her. And especially with Angela keeps going on and on about how men always turn to look at her, and how people always come and talk to her, and people like even when they came out of the cheerleading thing, and yes, her dad's creepy, but she's like, "Hi, Janney, that was great. Hello, Angela. Nice to meet you." Blah 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 blah. No, there's no attention on her, but all the praise. Even Carolyn says to Angela, "You guys did a great job." And then she goes to Jane.
I was watching. You didn't screw up once.
Yeah, like that's not praise.
Yeah.
That's negging, right? Negging?
Yeah, pretty much.
So it's horrible.
Don't do that to your children, people. Public service announcement. Be nice to your kids.
Yes.
And teach them about consent. Like a lot. All kinds of consent.
All kinds of consent. Yes. But my question about Angela too, because she goes on and on about having sex with all these people and she's going to be model, whatever. And originally when I saw the movie, at the end, like that scene, she's just like, they're finally going to get it on, which is so gross.
Yeah.
And then she's like, it's my first time. I hope that's okay. I always thought she was the kid who was just lying because she thought it was sexy. But then, like, when I watched it...
You thought she was lying to him about it being her first time?
Yes.
Oh.
Right? No, when I first saw it.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah.
And then this time when I watched it, I'm just like, no, she's just been lying the whole time about these experiences.
Her mouth, and now she's terrified and she knows that this is not right.
Yeah.
Like, it's not, obviously.
Yeah, and I find it really interesting how, 20 years can change your perspective on something like that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he's not that much older than we are now.
Oh, God.
I know.
Yeah.
They said his age, and then I cringed myself into the next room for a minute.
Well, he said, in the movie, he's 42.
He's 43 or 42?
Yeah.
By my 43rd birthday, I'll be dead or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, I was their age when I saw it the first time, and now I'm way closer to his age, and I'm like, oh, God.
And everything about it is creepy.
It is.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
Well, I think one of the things that makes it even creepier is that, okay, I'm gonna start it off with saying I don't condone pedophilia in any way, shape, or form.
I don't think either of us condone anything that happens in this movie.
No, I definitely do not condone
just state that really
anything that happens to this, right? But one thing about this movie is the fact that most of the stuff he comes up with we're seeing it in his mind's eye, right? And unfortunately, there's no way to stop your brain from going wherever it wants to go sometimes, okay? But the fact that as an audience you get to see it is what makes it super creepy. But then at the end, when he's actually about to go through it, is what makes him a bad person.
Yep.
That's what makes him a bad person.
It's sort of presented as he's redeemed because he doesn't go through with it.
Yeah. No, but he was full on ready to go through with it.
You're a first class creep, even if you did, back off when she was visibly terrified. The fact that you got to that place.
Yeah. There's you got her clothes off. No, you've gone way too far.
Yeah, you suck.
Yeah, and that was the thing, And
it's frightening. But also in a way, it just adds to the whole theme of it is he's so ineffectual at everything, right?
Mm-hmm.
He can't get anything done. Even the worst thing he could have ever done in his life, he still didn't manage to do it.
Yeah.
It was the right thing to do, not to do it, but yeah.
Yeah.
He couldn't even be 100% committed to being a creep. You know what I mean?
Nobody advocates for that, Alex. What's wrong with you?
No, that's and he didn't redeem himself properly by stopping early, but he also didn't all the way condemn himself. So it's just it's just a whole long journey to the middle.
Yeah.
Sorry to sound like Lester Bangs for a second there, but that's
it's
that's
true.
That is his daughter's always saying, there's nothing worse than being ordinary, and he is so middle of the road about literally everything. Even his bad behavior. Yeah.
But I think the reason why, storytelling wise, the reason why they would have stopped it there, not just because it goes not a little bit, it just goes too far if they did, is the fact that you would not feel bad for him when he dies at the end. At all.
No.
Because, imagine, he went through with it, goes to the kitchen and looks at the picture of his little girl and smiling, gets shot in the back of the head. I'm like, what's he thinking? You're creepy. You deserve to die. Like, that's what your audience would be thinking.
Good riddance.
Yeah. Whereas this way, you're kind of like, well, at least he stopped and somebody asked him how he was and he's doing really good. And he's finally realizing that things aren't that bad, you know? And this movie teaches you that once you're content, you're going to die anyway. So it doesn't really matter. So there you go. What are you supposed to do with that, right?
Yeah, it's pretty harsh on the regular life thing.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, I'm still, fighting the good fight against adulthood, so I can kind of sympathize with that. But on the other hand,
yeah, but I mean,
it's just exaggerated. So everything's so exaggerated.
Yeah. Really. But even their regular life isn't, really that regular. People talk about, your family's so normal, and why can't my family be better than your be like your family and all that kind of stuff. But if you actually get a look into it like this movie does, you'll see all families are messed up in their own way. Yeah. What's normal to you is weird to them, or like Carolyn does, she presents everything as okay, as normal. Everything is great. She's become a
parody of herself because she's so busy looking at what everybody else is seeing.
Yeah, and she's at the beginning he makes a note the shears on her clippers match her clogs, and that's not an accident, and you're just like, oh my god, that's creepy.
Oh, see, I found that very satisfying.
Really?
I would do that too.
It's garden work. I'm gonna get dirty. I don't care what I'm wearing. It's just.
Well, you just buy them at once, and then they match, and they're cute. No, maybe I sympathize with her more than other people. Although there's that great scene where they're kind of reconnecting on the couch, and then she freaks out on the beer bottle.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, girl, take one finger and tip it up right.
Yeah.
Calm down. You what are you doing?
Yeah, it's you didn't have to say it. You didn't have to stop the mood. You just reach your arm over, get it out of the hand, and you're good to go, right?
Yeah. If you were so unfun that you don't know how to dispose of a beer bottle when you're making it on a couch, then you really have lost the plot. Right.
Well, I think that's why he got so angry and turned off.
He freaked out on such a little thing, is that it actually wasn't. It could have been a little thing, and it wasn't.
Yeah. Because he was just going on about how carefree she was and how things like that didn't matter when they were young. And, she looked happy, and that's because she's been firing guns and banging this guy she's not supposed to. Whatever. Asshole. Yeah. Oh, God. Yeah. That guy's a... Oh.
People think Peter Gallagher is really attractive, and I'm happy for them, but I'm just nope, nobody, nope.
No. He is the creepiest type of, quote-unquote attractive. When there are people that look good just so they can pretend they don't have a body in the basement, that's what he looks like.
Yeah.
And I'm really sorry, Peter Gallagher, but at the same time, oh my god. Yeah. Okay,
I'm sure he's lovely, and I know people, I don't get it. I super don't get it.
Yeah. No, I don't, no. Because every time he smiled and his teeth are too big for his face and stuff, and I'm just like, why do you like this? No.
We sound like Angela.
Yeah. Or even when they first meet at lunch and he's going about how his wife has left him, and the life he's afforded her and all this kind of stuff, and he's just smiling the whole time.
Yeah.
But you can tell behind him he's I'm picturing stabbing her in my head, and it's oh my god, you're so creepy. And then she's there going, this is fantastic. Oh my god, you're so interesting. Right. This is
and
great.
Lester's just these two deserve each other.
Yeah.
Yikes.
Yeah. And it's true, is because they both have this wanting persona where they want everybody to like them, and they have to exude what she was listening to? You have to look successful to be successful, or exude success all the time, or some nonsense. Yeah. I'm just like, oh my god.
Yeah, nothing says mental stability like mantras on your car radio.
Sitting in the rain with your gun on your passenger seat.
Yeah. Anyway, also never trust a real estate agent. Just don't.
What if there are real estate agents listening to this?
Sorry, y'all, but I've worked with way too many of them.
Oh, no.
They all have a hint of the crazy eyes. I'm just saying. You have to be good at that business, so...
Yeah, because there's got to be, like,
I'm sure they'll cry themselves to sleep on their pile of money that I'm talking trash, but, like, just no.
She's like, look, but I live in this mansion.
Yes.
It's very true. It's very true.
Yes, what a bizarre film.
It's so bizarre.
So bizarre. But, I mean, still, yeah. Yeah, I just don't know how to feel about it. Are we...
Yeah, I realized it just made me, when I watched it, just made me uncomfortable.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I was just uncomfortable after finishing it. And I was just like...
No, it gave me the icks, too.
Yeah.
But also, like, that's one of the things, I mean, you know, it's important to talk about these things, look at, you know, MeToo era and all that, but, like, nobody's really made a decision about, like, what do we do with the works of people who are killer talented but also creeps, right? Like...
Yeah. Well, because, like... There's this whole part of it, like, yeah, he's a creep and stuff, but he makes really good art. We should let the art speak for itself. And I'm like, but you're still perpetuating a state of being by letting him just be an artist.
Well, and
you know?
I don't know, Kevin Spacey's a particularly interesting case because he actually, like, his career effectively is over. Mm-hmm. He had that one movie that made $140 or whatever. Because they, like, didn't really release it. Whatever, after, like, the major stuff came to light. They, like, the studios have, like, they've quote-unquote released his movies, but not really. Mm-hmm. And so they're not making any money, and he's basically said he's retired because nobody will work with him. And given the way a lot of people are slinking back into the limelight, Louis C.K.,
he's trying to, but they're making a big deal about it.
Yeah, but it makes me wonder with Kevin Spacey, the fact that, like, everyone was just like, nope, shut it down and go home. Mm-hmm. Is it something...
It's not going to stay.
Was he working for a particularly woke studio, or is it because his victims have all been men?
No, I think it's because he came in right at the apex of this whole thing, right? And it's not just that they were men, it's that quite a few of them were underage as well, which made it a big deal. But at the same time, I think what's going to happen is he's going to be out of the limelight for a couple of years. Then he's going to sneak into some movie here or there. And then people are just going to be like, oh, yeah, he is a good actor. And then it'll be fine again.
Yeah, people have very short memories.
Yeah. I mean, look at, what's his face? The guy who, there's Mel Gibson, there's the guy who beat up Rihanna, who was the boyfriend or whatever.
Brown?
Yeah, and
he never went anywhere. He didn't go. Nobody cared.
They're now making more of a big deal about R. Kelly finally 25 years after all his allegations came out and all the stuff that he did.
Everybody's always known he was a creep.
Yeah, and so that's still going on, and then you think about, like, you know, all the things that's happening. Like, even with, like, Harvey Weinstein, yeah, he lost his company, but he still got, like, his $500 million that he can live off just fine and whatever, and he can pay off anybody left, right, and center.
Without getting yelled at.
Aw, boo-hoo. Cry.
I think he might actually end up in prison.
I hope so. It doesn't matter.
No,
but, I mean, he's a rich white man. He's going to... Like, I don't condone anything Cosby has done, and yes, I think he's guilty of whatever he did, but at the same time, he's going to get a much harsher punishment than anybody else out there. You know?
Well, yeah. The drugs are a big part of that, though. Like, that's not all. It's not all demographic. He also, the fact there were drugs involved, and, like, because there's a sliding scale, right? And people are, like to try and make it, oh, Louis C.K., not that big a deal. And, like, well, yeah, in the scheme of, like, you know, giving a teenager Quaaludes she doesn't know about and raping her versus just, like, yanking your dick out, okay, yeah. Louis is fine. But also, still, we're on the wrong scale, and he still sucks.
Yeah, if you have a scale from bad to worse, even if you're on the low end, it's still bad. Yeah, like,
groping somebody is also not acceptable. Yeah. It's less bad than R. Kelly, but it's still terrible.
Terrible, like, yeah. As a person who's been groped in public and not liking it, you probably have as well.
I don't know anybody who hasn't.
Yeah, exactly. Really? Like, none of it is good, and it makes people feel uncomfortable. It makes people not want to be around. Like, it's just... It's not nice, you know, and I realize, like, a lot of men, they just don't understand what it feels like, you know.
They don't know, because also, like, it's like, well, if you object to it so much, why don't you say something? It's like, well, because that guy might turn around and follow me home and murder me, is why.
Yes.
Like, you don't, yeah.
Like, you say, don't do that, and you get called a whore, or don't do that, you get punched in the face, or don't do that, you get followed to the bathroom.
Whoever's doing it is almost certainly larger and stronger than you, so if they want to make a point in a physical way, there's nothing you can do about it.
Exactly. And I mean, like, about 85% of the time, the guy was just like, oh, sorry. But that 15% of the time is life-threatening. Yeah. Like, it's really... And like,
you have to tense up in advance because you don't know if a guy's going to catcall or grab you. Or, like, walking by guys on the street when it's dark, that there's that moment where it's like, oh, should I grab my keys? Like, should I pretend I'm on the phone? Like, probably most of them are perfectly lovely people just going about their business, but I don't know that.
Yeah. There's no way for you to know.
Men don't understand that inherent, like, caution. They don't. Well, I mean, why would they?
Yeah.
Because,
like, I mean,
it's not in
their realm, right?
No.
It's not anything, like, they don't experience that on average.
Are not threats to them.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, like, one thing I always do, like, I come home late at night. Like, I like to go out. I like to have a good time. I don't like to watch the clock, but, you know, if I'm coming home at 2, 3, 4 o'clock in the morning, I pay attention. And if I'm getting off of a bus and I know somebody's getting off a bus behind me, I don't care if you're a man or a woman, I stand aside and let you walk in front of me because I don't want anybody walking behind me. Right?
No. Somebody walking up behind you when you're walking in late at night?
No,
terrifying.
It's
universally
terrifying. And I don't even care who you are. Like, it just creeps me out, you know, because I'm just worried. I'm like, I don't know what that person's going to do. And then you also hear stories about, like, oh, woman stabbed in an alley and her purse stolen. And you're just like, what? For what reason? It's just because it was dark and she was there. Like, that's it.
Sure.
You know?
Easy target.
So, yeah, people just don't, like, a lot of men don't get it. They just don't.
No. And, I mean, you know, I'm sort of happy that only 50% of my friends are terrified all the time. But on the other hand, you know.
Yeah, 50% of my friends are still terrified all the time.
Yeah, and it's really, I mean, it's good that this is, like, more of a conversation now, but it's still got a long way to go.
Oh, yeah, because for years, people were just like, get over it, it's fine.
Yeah.
Like, oh, what are you worried about?
Oh, man. I mean, okay, like, don't really get me started, but, like, the Aziz Ansari thing. This is, like, the hill I'm going to die on. I can't even tell you how many arguments I've had with people about this.
I'm sorry, that whole thing just seemed like it was a super bad date, and he just wasn't cueing in well. And I'm not condoning anything that he's done, but also she needs to get over it. It was a bad fucking date. Like,
yeah, but the same thing that we just talked about, how you don't know what's going to happen if you tell a guy where to go. If he grabs you, it's the same thing when you're alone in your apartment, in an apartment with somebody who has on every objective level way more power than you.
Yeah, I guess.
It's his space. True. I mean, he's not a huge dude, but he's still stronger. He's like, she's trying to get into the industry. He's got a lot of power that way. She doesn't know how he's going to react. He's, like, showed himself to be a jerk. If he's grabbing her head and trying to stuff his dick in her mouth. Like, I mean, yeah, it was a bad date, but also, and yeah, like, the person I am now, if somebody, like, if I go to a restaurant and he just, like, orders a bottle of wine and doesn't ask, and I'm like, oh, okay, well, don't like this guy. Like, red flag, not going to do it. But I'm not 21 anymore.
That's true.
At 21,
well, I think
21, I probably would have fallen for every single thing that she went through.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't have had the balls to stand up and say, hey, this guy's a creep.
Well, see, that's my thing. So. Like, I would have... That's my thing. Like, it was a bad date at the restaurant, and I'd have been like, I'm going home. Thank you very much. Like, that would have been it for me. You know?
But he's a star, right? You're going to make allowances because of who he is. Well, a lot of people are.
Aziz Ansari, really?
Well, I mean, not me. I'm like out with this guy's blood. As I said, the hill I'm going to die on. Like,
but what
how mad I am
like,
with the reaction
thing that really killed me about that one is because Master of None brought that whole thing up several times.
His
like
whole public persona is about how woke he is.
Yeah.
Are we really supposed to believe that he thought she was down to get down when actually she was, like, freaking out and hiding in the corner? Come on. Either you're bad or you're an idiot. Yeah. Probably both.
Yeah, no, I think he's
like,
just an idiot.
There's not reading cues, and then there's, like, trying to see what you can get away with. And that's how that reads to me, and I don't have any more patience for that than I like for groping or catcalling or any of that other stuff.
It read to me that he just wasn't picking up cues. But the thing is that part of his show is the fact that he doesn't pick up those cues. Right. Like, part of the show is that he doesn't get it. you know? So it's like, I mean, I've seen his stand-up, and I've seen him in interviews and all that kind of stuff, and, like, he's not quote-unquote stupid, but it's very clear that he's not, like, he's not picking up everything, you know? Like, I guess that's with anybody.
Yeah, fair enough. Well, then
and now I feel like I'm making excuses for him, which I'm not. I'm not condoning anything that he's done.
Every time I say, oh, he's a creep, and people argue with me, then we end up in this place where it's like, okay, so he's fine, everything was cool, like, that was his behavior was good? Okay.
Well, no, like, and that's the thing, right? It's like,
it's a gray area, like, whatever. Could, you know, should she maybe have acted differently? Yes. Should he definitely have acted differently? Yes. Yeah. Whatever. And it hasn't really, like, he's shaken the dust off already. It's fine. It's not actually going to really impact his life.
But he hasn't really been doing anything because of it.
He's been around. He's popped up a few places. Yeah, he's already on his slow motion comeback tour. It's fine. It's not going to do him any ultimate damage. Yeah.
Which is...
But, like, I just don't think men should get a gold star and a cookie for not actually raping a woman, you know?
Yeah. No, I don't know. That is not what I'm not saying.
Obviously,
give him a gold star and cookie.
No,
Definitely
no,
not.
Of course not. But I just, like, that's not what anyone is saying when we argue about this. But that's the end of the path that they are walking. Yeah. Is my point. So, whatever.
Well, at least you know. No, I'm not. I'm going to stop talking. I'm just going to sound like... No. I'm just gonna stop talking. I'm not gonna.
Whatever. We've gotten way off on a tangent here. Which, sorry.
It's technically not way off on a tangent because it's completely within the realm of this film.
That's true. Yeah. And also, in terms of star fucking, is an interesting segue into Almost Famous.
I mean, that's
Celebrities
very true.
Behaving badly is sort of a motif tonight.
Exactly. But apparently, that's what wins Academy Awards. So you know.
Well, I mean, Harvey Weinstein pretty conclusively proved that.
In so many ways.
Where are we as a society? Good grief.
Well, it's the end of the world as we know it.
Or I do not feel fine. I want my money back.
I'm freaking out personally, but yeah. No, like I literally tell people on a regular basis, I'm like, you know those like apocalyptic movies where everything is horrible and people are scavenging and you know cities are destroyed and all that kind of stuff. So we're at the part where that starts happening. Right? Yeah. So we're right at the beginning. Yeah. We're about to see things blow up.
Do we want to be the crazy preppers, or do we want to be like the spunky heroines who have to make it up on the fly?
No. I want to be the person who dies in the first wave.
Really?
Yeah, I don't want to starve and scavenge and like fight people off and all that kind of nonsense. Maybe my kid will be the one who be like the spunky whatever, but no, I'm gonna die in the first wave. So no, I'm dead in the first wave. Zombie apocalypse, you gotta survive? No. Just stab me in the head. Let me be done with it.
Oh, no.
Jesus.
I had a hilarious conversation with my father at the cottage last summer where we were, like, moving stuff around in the shed. And I was like, Dad, we really have to have a talk. And he was like, what? Why do you have to plug in your chainsaw? What use is a chainsaw that I can't run around with in the event of a zombie apocalypse? And bless my father, who has, like, never watched a zombie movie in his life, probably, because they're, like, terrible and I'm insane. Was just like, kid, where did you come from?
That's like when I told my mother her building was not very zombie secure because all of the exit doors, right? If you like fob into it, like to open it, it automatically opens and stays open. I'm like, you're just gonna die. Ooh, you're just gonna die now. Yeah, that's not acceptable. Like, you know, you're running, you open the door, and you're just holding the door closed for like the 10 seconds. You're dead. That's not gonna work.
I mean, that sort of applies to not just zombies, but people.
Well, no, that's like because it's technically behind a gate. Like you have to buzz in to go through the garage to park the car to come back out through those doors. It's not like the public entrance. Okay. But still, during a zombie apocalypse, that's not gonna matter, right? No. So I'm like, that door is just it's just hanging there. So I don't know. I'm just saying. Yeah. Yeah.
All right. Well,
I know.
I'm sorry to hear you're gonna die in the first wave. I plan to set up my own kingdom and be the queen of the scavengers.
Well, okay. Well, let's make it this way. If you're not around, we'll die in the first wave. Let's put it that way. If you're around, if I find you, I'll make it happen.
All right.
We'll make it happen.
I'll
yeah. Just hunt me down real quick, okay? Yeah. Or else I'll just be like, this is gonna be it. Just let it all happen. be over, you know.
I do need to do more cardio if there's going to be a zombie apocalypse.
Oh, me too. Oh my god, yes. Actually, I don't even think I'll be like one of the zombie victims that get back up. They're like, no, she's too meaty. We're going to eat all of this.
Oh,
it's fine.
Oh my god, how did we get here?
Yeah, I might save a lot of people that way because they're just taking there so much time, you know?
Oh.
It'll be fine. I don't know, for some reason I'm just thinking about like that scene in Shaun of the Dead where they pull the guy out the window and then like they put their hands in his stomach and they rip him apart.
Yeah, that's a Kodak moment for sure.
Oh, for sure. Okay. Okay, now we've derailed. Okay, now we've derailed.
Yeah, we're way off.
Yeah, so from zombie apocalypse to 1970s groupie movie, there you go.
Excuse you, those are Band-Aids.
Oh, whatever. They are full on groupie.
Okay, well, we have to talk about that, but maybe let's not start there.
Okay, we're not gonna start there. No, fine.
I feel like we need some sage or something to
clear the air.
Sexual assault fug out of my brain. Okay.
What are you talking about? Sexual assault happens in this movie. What? There's the whole scene in the movie where the kid's in the room with the girls and they're like, we're going to deflower him. The kid's 15.
Consents?
That's still statutory rape, dude.
Is it?
He's 15.
So? Someplace the age of consent is 14 or 15. I don't know.
Yeah, that's in like Alabama. I don't think they were in Alabama.
I don't think they have consent laws in Alabama.
Jesus.
Sorry.
We're offending all the people. It's fine. Real estate agents, Alabamans. That's Alabama?
No.
Aziz Ansari? I don't know. We're insulting everybody today. Yeah. We're just letting it happen.
Yeah.
But yes, okay. So almost famous. Yeah.
Okay. So we discovered as we were starting this podcast that we watched different versions of the movie.
Yes.
I watched the bootleg, which is the extended edition. If you have not watched the bootleg, which I gather you have not, and
no, don't
folks
think so.
out there listening, you have been egregiously shortchanged. Like, do not pass go, do not collect $200, watch the extended edition.
Now I'm what is missing in the extended edition, you think?
Oh my god, there's so much. So, I mean, it's all, like, a lot of it is very short scenes. It's, in total, it's something like an extra 36 minutes. So, like, it does make a big difference.
It is a big difference.
But it all, like, it's not like, you know, there's like, huge scenes. But there are a lot of points where the movie just makes more sense.
Yeah,
and the people are people, like, not caricatures.
Yeah, like, because despite the fact I've found quite a few scenes very nostalgic and, like, you just kind of enjoy the experience of watching it. Overall, the movie is quite it's choppy. It's not disjointed, but it's choppy. It flows
a lot better as in the extended edition, for sure. I mean, it is a little bit, like, the movie is designed to be a little bit hectic because the story is hectic. Yeah. So some of that is just a style choice. Mm-hmm. But, yeah, like, especially, for example, because the movie, I mean, it's, you know, it's whatever, Cameron Crowe, like, love letter to rock and roll, but, like, the heart of the movie is about family, and, like, the family you're born with, the family you make, whatever. In the extended edition, the relationship in particular between Russell and Jeff is so much more fleshed out and actually makes sense.
Why he's so...
because, I mean, like, ultimately, like, I love this movie to tiny pieces, if that wasn't already clear. And, but the relationship between Russell and Penny is, like,
non-existent.
Yeah. And there are scenes in the extended cut where they, like, actually talk to each other a little bit more. So, like, there's a little bit more there, but not a ton.
Yeah.
But it's not the most interesting relationship in the story by a long shot.
And that's the thing that I noticed, like, at the end of the movie. I was just like, why does he love her so much? Like, she doesn't do anything for him. She ditches him every possible moment.
Oh, and what is William?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah. I was like, what do you mean? Why wouldn't Russell love her? She demands nothing.
Well, that part I actually understood in the movie. That part I understood. It's just like, he's a person who he wants attention. He craves attention, right? But he has to share attention. And with her, he doesn't have to do that. And she's like, oh, I'm his muse, and I'm here to have a good time and inspire and blah, blah, blah. But really, she's just letting him use her, like, use up all of her energy so that he can be this great creator or whatever the hell he wants to be, right? But then, William's there, and I'm just like, but she has given you nothing. Like, why? Oh. There's nothing. Like, I find their interactions are so minuscule and, like, they're ridiculously short and unimportant. And she just doesn't do anything. She literally doesn't do anything.
Oh, okay. Well, see, I don't necessarily agree with that. Okay. I mean, because I think a lot of, okay, yeah, he says he's in love with her. Whatever, you're 15. Calm down. But, I mean, she's basically, like, shepherding him through this, right? She's the one who, like, gets it, she, like, gets him into this world, and she's sort of, like, in the background caretaking, whatever. She's not, like...
No, she's not the one who gets him into the world.
What do you mean?
It's Russell. Because remember, he got kicked out, the girls got...
I don't mean literally, like, in that scene. Yeah, like, Stillwater walk him into the thing, but, like, when they're like, oh, come to LA, she, like, drives him to LA, she gets him on the tour, and also she's the one who's, like, okay, like, she, teaches him sort of how to lie about his age, but she, like, introduces him to people, she kind of keeps an eye on him, whatever, like, in that scene that we were talking about, where they're like, oh, let's deflower the kid, like, she basically is like, I'm not going to participate, but, do you need out? He's like, okay, I guess this is happening, whatever. Like, she's watching out for him. She's making sure that he's going to be okay. She introduces him to all the girls who are taking care of him, as well as using him for his room. But, like... Yeah.
They're just using him
I don't know. She's more like a symbol of him being introduced to this whole new world, I think, than a real person.
Yeah.
Because that's what it's all about, right? Like, because everyone's wearing a mask.
Oh, yeah, throughout the whole thing.
Yeah, which is, like, that's how that works. And that's one of the interesting things, is that you get, like, a behind-the-scenes look at it, but you don't actually... there's another scenes to be behind. Yeah.
Well, maybe my problem is that, like, I should have probably watched the extended edition based on your description.
I didn't realize that. I thought of it too late, and I was like, if I had texted you last night, it was like, actually, watch 3 hours of movie, you would have been like, no. Pass. So,
I would, like, tell you the truth, I would have, like, if I had time, I would have gladly watched it again, like, another one.
It didn't occur to me till too late, but it does make such a huge difference. And yeah, like, in terms of the band dynamic in particular, which I find really interesting, so Jeff and Russell are always, like, they're, like, the main, friction point or whatever, and it's, like, they're always, Jeff just always bitches, and Russell always stomps, and it's, like, are you guys toddlers? Like, why are you still in this band together? You don't like each other, you're, like, everything's just fighting and obnoxiousness. Like, what are you even doing here?
But they're friends, and they've been together for a long time.
Well, exactly. But the thing is, like, the extended cut, they actually show that. Like, they do. There's a hilarious scene, actually, the radio interview, where the DJ is just, like, stoned out of his mind and literally, like, falls asleep in the middle of the interview. So he's just, like, saying all this nonsense, and then you just, like... And so they're like, okay, I guess we're doing a thing. And they're, like, kind of, like, cursing, just, like, seeing what they can get away with. Yeah. And wake up. But, like, Jeff says something about, like, oh, Russell's, like, the best guitar player going and whatever. And he's just like, why did you have to wait till we were on the radio to tell me that? Like, why don't you ever say anything nice to me in person? It's like, I don't know, you get an ego, like, man. And then they go back to, like, swearing into the mic. Yeah. And stuff like that. So there are, like, a lot of little moments like that where it's like, I mean, mostly it's just a hilarious scene because the guy also, the radio host, has no idea that this is going on. That he tunes back in and is like, all right, yeah, I think that interview went pretty well. Okay.
See, well, now I have to track down this extended edition,
But stuff like that, but also the big thing is, like, in the plane sequence. Yeah. I'm pretty sure this isn't in the original. Jeff slept with Russell's girlfriend, which we know. Mm-hmm. But then he confesses that he's in love with her.
Yes, that's in that one.
And then there's more of it, I think, in there, but also, like, later on, you kind of find out that like, Russell and Leslie have broken up, and she and Jeff are together now, and they, like, basically hug it out in the most, like, awkward boy way possible, which is its own funny thing. But, like... What? Yeah. No. Yeah, so the fact that they're, like...
Well, because they said, in it, so... Russell and Leslie took a break at one point in time, and then slept with No, it wasn't. It wasn't Jeff. It was the other guy. He slept with the other guy, but then she's also slept with Jeff as well.
Well, yeah, but okay, so Jeff has been in love with Russell's girl this whole time.
Yeah.
And he's watching Russell with Penny.
Mm-hmm.
So Jeff is not getting what he wants. He's, like, not really the front man of the band. He doesn't have the, like, he doesn't get to be with Leslie. Russell, like, doesn't want what he wants, but has it anyway.
Yeah.
So, of course, they're, like, clawing
There's
at
friction.
each other, and he's, like, mad all the time. But, yeah, once the plane thing happens, and he, like, confesses and all that stuff, then they actually, they actually talk about it later on, that they've, like, sorted this out. Like, Leslie and Russell broke up, because obviously they should not be together. And he, you know, Jeff and Leslie are getting together, and it's like...
Yeah, no, they
So it makes it make sense that the band would continue.
Yeah.
Like,
no, they did not say that in this edition at all.
Yeah, they have, like, an actual conversation where they, like, start to...
They just leave William in the airport and walk away.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
but
all
he
right.
says, yeah, there's something... Jeff says something else in that scene, but then there's another scene later, like... Just before the scene where Sapphire tells Russell he sucks and everyone knows. Can you believe these new girls? They don't use birth control and they eat all the steak.
I like that comment. I was just like, I know, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I don't know. You said all the things now.
Oh man, really? How many more hours? I can just keep going.
Like, tell you the truth, like, I didn't. There wasn't that many notes that I took for this because I found myself either really annoyed by what was going on, like, oh god, stop trying so hard to be poignant and saying the words, you know. And then there's the other scenes where I'm just like, oh, this is so nice. It's such a good experience. It's nostalgia. This is great. You know, or there's like a good song playing, there's a lot of Elton John. And there's like one of my notes here is Elton John brings people together. You know? Like the scene where they're singing on the bus.
The tiny dancer scene is definitely one of the best scenes in the movie.
I know.
They just nailed it.
They did nail it. And then that's the thing. I was just like, what?
Yeah.
But my other thing is like Philip Seymour Hoffman, which
I love.
Bless his soul.
He's fantastic, and I love Lester Bangs in this.
Yeah.
I love him so much.
Yeah. And like one of the comments he makes when he first meets William is he asks him if he takes drugs and he says no, and his response is, smart kid, I used to take speed, and you know how he died. Speedball. Yep. A snowball, that's what it's called. Sorry, snowball.
I don't know, it was somewhere
which is like
business.
Yeah, and I was just like, oh no. You know.
Yeah.
All I can think is like foreshadowing for your real life. Horrible.
Yeah.
And then there was a whole bunch of cameos, which I thought was great.
Yep.
Well, there's of course early Anna Paquin and late Fairuza Balk.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
I haven't seen her in a very long time in anything. I think about it.
Fairuza Balk? I feel like she has been in stuff, but I don't.
Not picking up anything.
Every time I see her, I'm like, oh hey, but like I don't.
Yeah, she's got one of those faces that you will recognize no matter what.
She had a real run where she was like in everything for a while. She's in a lot of like,
especially like her most famous is The Craft.
The Craft, yeah, exactly. Like
can't go wrong.
She's also in American History X and like.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. She was in American History X.
Yeah, she's the scary girlfriend.
American History X is one of those movies I've seen once and I will never watch again.
That's fair.
That doesn't mean it's a bad movie. I just can't bring myself to watch it anymore.
No, I don't. No, it's beautifully horrendous.
Yes. Yeah. You know, and I think especially people who are racist should see that movie once, at least. Yeah. And I think it might change their mind in a lot of ways. And not just because of the horrible ending of like the brother or anything like that, just because it might open their mind to maybe even possibly talking to people. Yeah. That's all it is, you know?
It's about making human connections.
Yeah.
That's how you overcome that stuff.
Exactly. Because people are afraid of what they don't know. And if you know it, you're not afraid of it anymore. And you're just not a dick.
Theory.
In theory, yes, very much. In theory, everything's in theory until put into action.
Yeah. That
kind of thing. So, my next note was that, you know, Jimmy Fallon is really such a bad actor. I'm glad I gave it up. Because literally, as soon as he walks in, I'm like, oh, Jimmy Fallon's in. And then he says 3 words. I'm like, oh, Jimmy Fallon's in this. Oh, no. Like, he's just so bad.
I mean, I think a certain amount of that was just, like, the exaggerated rock star cliche thing. Because like, he was, like, doing a bit, but...
Yeah, but so is
also he wasn't doing a very good job of it.
Yeah, but that's the thing. So is everybody else in the movie, and they did not come off like that. You know, like everybody was doing a bit. Like look at those band guys. Like they were all, you know, with their hair and the whatever, and they get on stage and be like, yeah.
How much do I love the drummer Ed? Literally, his only line in the whole movie is when he confesses to
I'm gay. I was like, oh my god.
Excuse me, it's fuck it. I'm gay!
The whole movie, I was just... Because at first I was wait a second, who is that guy? And I was like, oh, he's the drummer.
He actually is referred to as Silent Ed at some point. I don't know which edition, but I think it might be the extended.
Somewhere in there?
They actually do make a reference to the fact that he doesn't speak ever.
God.
I mean, he's also not an actor.
Yeah.
He's a drummer, so...
Oh, like he's a legitimate...
So when they were casting it, the drummer and the bass player are, like, actual musicians that they cast. So they are playing, but, like, yeah. Like, Billy Crudup was not wailing on Fever Dog. That's... That's Mike McCready from Pearl Jam.
And who is... I don't think Jason Lee is actually singing.
I think he is.
Really?
Why else would you cast... I think so. I think he is.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Oh. I have some...
I mean, maybe not, but
more respect for him if he is.
I think so.
Yeah?
I think he's highly underrated in that movie.
No, I actually think he did.
I think he's fab.
I actually really enjoy Jason Lee as an actor. But one thing I realize is that every character he plays is like highly egotistical, and at some point in time he has this like epic rant that you just fucking enjoy because it's just so you're so full of shit, and you are just telling everybody how full of shit you are.
I look for the one guy who's not getting up, and I make sure I get him up.
Yeah,
bro.
Like relax, dude, relax. You know. And I just I enjoy all of his egotistical speeches, like in every single movie that he does.
That is a skill.
Yeah, he makes it work. He makes it work.
He does. He really does. Oh man, yeah. Like, whatever. And the chicks are great. Come on, we look like assholes. Well, you said that, buddy.
Yeah,
you do look like assholes.
You do. That's what they do.
That's another scene in the extended that's a little different,
mm-hmm.
where they're like everybody has gotten a call except Russell from the fact checker at Rolling Stone, and they've all been like, I guess that happened. Oh no, like they're gonna crucify us. They actually go into it where they're like, oh yeah, everything like in the scene on the plane, they say outright like he didn't use names, but it's really obvious who everybody is, and like we cannot let this go to print. Russell, now you're the last one. Like you haven't talked to them. It's your job to tell them it's nonsense. Whatever.
Oh really?
Yeah. So the band basically tells him like you have to stop this.
Because
he's the one who originally said write what you saw, and then that's why. But also that's a little bit troubling if you like outed a band member and stuff. Like
Well, he's saying that like he didn't use names, so he at least tried.
He did, but it's still super obvious. Like,
but is it obvious? No, but that's the thing. Like to a person who is part of that situation, things are always more obvious than people who are completely separate from it. But I'm not denying the fact that maybe people could have pieced it together. Yeah. But does it really mean like? Do you think he outed someone? Because really, like Jason Lee's character, I forget what his name is. Jeff. He's just pissed off that they sound really uncool.
Well, yeah.
And he's like, no, we gotta be cool.
Well, that's what I mean. Because that scene goes on a little bit more.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like,
well, yeah, because
Jimmy Fallon is like, oh, yeah, no, he didn't use any names, but it's like super. And I mean, he's,
yeah, he's horrible.
He mowed a guy down, so that's that's a little bit worse than I slept with your wife.
That is true. That's very true.
Yeah. They all slept with their old manager's wife. That's who it was. It wasn't Russell's girlfriend.
Really? I thought two of them slept with
Marta,
Leslie.
his Dick's wife, or girlfriend, or wife, or whoever. That's
right.
Everybody cheating on everybody anyway, but
yeah, and he seems to have he's like, oh my god, you guys slept with her too? Like it was okay. Gotcha. All right, I got them mixed up.
That's why he just confessed he'd like stolen money, and then he's just like, oh, they're banging my wife. Yeah.
So much worse.
So they have some interpersonal stuff to work through.
Yeah, definitely. stop sleeping with each other's wives and girlfriends. That might be a good place to start. And
stop having wives and girlfriends if you're going to have a Band-Aid on the road.
Exactly.
It's pretty simple.
Yeah, I would think so.
But I don't know, a lot of people struggle with that.
Yeah.
Fine.
People get attached sometimes. And that's literally what happens in this movie. But
yeah.
I mean, the thing is that right at the beginning, she's like, don't take anything seriously, just have a good time, blah, blah, blah. And, like, that's...
You can't... seriously.
Yeah.
Always have fun.
Yeah. But you can't live a life that way, because you can't build a life that way, you know? And I'm not saying you have to, like, get married and have a house, but you kind of have to have some sort of relationship with something somewhere. And if you take nothing seriously, you'll have nothing to show for anything.
Yeah. Another thing that's different about the extended cut, everyone at home take a drink, is that the idea that Penny's like retired is that's way more of a storyline.
Mm-hmm.
Like she says that very explicitly a few times at the beginning. She's like, I'm retired. I'm like just shepherding this kid. I'm not joining the tour. I'm not whatever.
Mm-hmm.
She keeps saying that. So, like, this is kind of her last hurrah, and she knows that anyway.
Oh, okay.
And then Russell kind of, like, pulls her back in. And it's like, no, but...
See, I only really... Like, I know she mentions
she says
the
it a couple
idea...
times in passing, but it is actually a thread
in the
longer version. Yeah.
Oh, okay. That makes more sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah, because, I mean, that's sort of how they set it up at the beginning. Like, everyone's so excited to see her because I guess she hasn't really been around. And
mm-hmm. See, that's the thing that really bothers me about extended edition. Like, most extended editions for any kind of movie, I find, is better than, like, the release. Because usually what happens is they put together this movie, well-edited, the story's good, and blah, blah, blah. And then the studio's like, can we get it just down to 2 hours or under 2 hours? So then you have to, like, cut a bunch of random shit, and that's when it gets messed up, you know?
Yeah.
And then they release the extended edition, which is the actual cut of the movie.
Yeah, it's how
and you get something
supposed
better
to be watched.
Yeah.
And, yeah, and this isn't some, like, terrifying apocalypse now, like... add 87 hours of footage nobody cares about business.
Yeah.
This is like, in some parts it's like he snipped, like he just slightly altered the scene or whatever. Like there's all kinds of little stuff, but then there's just more room for people to interact with each other in a way that makes them more interesting.
Yeah. I mean, as I get older, like the more and more I realize how important just editing is. Yeah. And sometimes it's not even, you could use the exact same footage, just edit it together in a different order or a different way.
Yeah.
And it'll have such a different impact on everything, right? And like you're saying, if there's a scene where, you know, you like, there's like a millisecond of like a face turn or something moved from one spot to another, can make a huge difference on how like the response to something is perceived by your audience, and then overall impact over the feeling of the movie can change, right?
Yeah, and I mean, like it had been a long time since I'd seen either version. So, and the last one I watched, I think, was probably the theatrical cut, and so there were probably a lot of those moments that I didn't notice, but also in terms of like the actual added scenes, I was just sitting there, like I had like a site open, but I was just like, oh, this one, oh, this one, oh, this one. I haven't seen this movie like in at least 5 years.
Yeah.
I can still pick out the parts that it's like, oh, that's new. Oh yeah, no, that's from that. Like,
yeah.
Like, oh, is that how that storyline makes sense? Cool, I've forgotten that bit.
So yeah. You
know, but it does, it makes a difference.
It does.
Can we talk about his mom?
Yes, we can.
Frances McDormand is so great. Everyone in this movie is so great. Like, even just little cameo characters are, like, hilarious and fabulous. And
wait, I got a list of some cameos that I recognized.
Oh, okay.
There's Abby from NCIS, aka Polly Peretti.
Yeah.
Jay Baruchel, of course.
He
looks so little.
And he must have been like 12. He's still little.
He's so little.
I know. I actually really love Vic. He's like, and that's like that guy's based on a real guy. Like other people who are in that scene are like, oh yeah, I totally know that guy.
Really?
Yeah. I don't know if his name was Vic, but there was like that dude who like traveled with Zeppelin, but not like with Zeppelin.
Yeah.
With like the homemade shirts and everything. Yeah.
But just like, everywhere.
He was like actually a guy that Cameron Crowe knew like on the road. Because that was his life. Was
I love it.
Zepp around. Being excited about
it. There's also Rainn Wilson showed up in there. Also get to talk about Star Trek. Yes.
Woo. Because
he's Harry Mudd in Discovery.
I'm delighted for him.
Yes. Okay. You can hate on Star Trek.
I'm not hating. I just have literally nothing to say.
Okay.
So if you need me to stop yapping, you can subdue me with Star Trek trivia.
So, anyways, they had a Star Trek shorts on the other day where he was the main character in it. It was really very exciting. Oh. I'm not allowed to give it away. It was 2 days ago. It's fine. I'm gonna keep it to myself. Yeah. I know. It's horrible.
No spoilers, Tracy.
I'm trying. God. There's also Cameron from Modern Family, Eric Stone Street.
He's one of my favorites.
He's in it for like half a second. Yeah.
She kind of freaked me out, man. Tell her to stop.
So I thought that was great.
The message. This is don't do drugs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then there's Nick Swarthman. He's the guy who is, it's Bowie! And everybody runs. It was a millisecond, but I'm like, I picked it up.
That's another one of those beautiful beats in that movie where it's like, because he's literally in the middle of like trying to be blasé about the new album, and then as soon as he shows up, he like loses his mind and starts shrieking like a little girl. And it's just like, yeah, that's what we thought, buddy.
Yeah, we know why you're really there. Yeah. I mean, you don't have like the zigzag across your face or the crazy hair, but we're on to you.
Sure. Mm-hmm. Trying to play it cool by not actually doing Ziggy Stardust makeup. Well, guess what? You're playing, and we know.
Yeah, on the inside, you're jealous.
Those are hilarious beats just because they're hilarious beats, but also it's like, because we sort of touched on this earlier, and then I made us change the topic, but the like how groupies are discussed and everything, and like how like what. There's a lot of like weird internal wrangling with the rules and all that jazz, but like, but it's actually a fairly respectful movie despite how easily that could have gone wrong. Mm-hmm. And one of the reasons is that like they make a real point of like, yeah, the girls may be sleeping with the rock stars, but they love the music. They're in it for these bands. Like they love this scene, but the guy like that like Bowie guy and Vic the Zepp guy are like way more crazy embarrassing fans than the groupies. Yeah. And that's the thing. They're the real like hangers on. The Band-Aids, like all the girls are actually in the scene. So it's not just like, oh, I love this album. It's like, these are my friends. This is like my road family. I am part of this like experience. Mm-hmm. So and this is what we're going to be doing. Yeah. It's cool. And like, I mean, they make sort of offhand like slut-shamey comments a few times, but
well, that's the thing. Like, I think that's one of the reasons why they want to be called Band-Aids and not like groupies or anything, is because the term groupie is a whole slut-shaming
connotation.
Yeah, connotation
and they
to
do,
it.
Like, when that scene where they first introduce themselves, like when William first meets them, and they're like, "Oh yeah, we're not groupies, we're Band-Aids," and that one girl, I can't remember which one it is. Oh, Estrella maybe is like. Yeah, Penny Lane, like, she changed all the rules, no more intercourse, like, just oral, and you're like, oh.
God, yeah.
This is going to be one of those movies where, they're taking shots at the girls, and then that doesn't really happen
in it, yeah. Well, because they always allude to sex happening, so, like, they'll be walking through a door while somebody behind them is putting on a shirt or something, or, you're like, this is a weird time of night to be sneaking into there, or that kind of thing. So it's not overly, the sexual content is not overly explicit, but it's definitely there, and I think that's why it becomes a little bit more respectful. It's not showing that they're not whores.
Yeah, there's not a lot of gratuitous nudity and sex and all that, but also like considering it's like the decadent 70s, like, oh yeah, whatever, drugs and sex everywhere. The dudes in the band are pretty monogamous.
Yeah, like they picked one and they stuck with that person.
Russell and Penny are together the whole time. Like Jeff and Palexia are together, and then once they ditch the girls, she's like, okay, well later I'm going to England with Deep Purple, fine. But like, yeah, like they're not actually picking anybody up. It's all people they know, and that are they're like.
And it's not like creepy orgies, and except for that one scene, it's not like overly drug filled or anything. Like it's.
Wait, which one scene?
Well, the scene where he goes to that party and gets acid, and then he's that whole thing.
I thought you meant the road manager poker game with the like, oh yeah, he got it from Crosby.
Oh, that's right. Okay, yes. Okay.
But yeah, no, the acid scene is pretty hilarious.
Yeah, so like, and that's the thing too. Like, there's not a lot of drug use in that movie, even though the mom keeps yelling, "Don't do drugs! Don't do drugs!"
Yeah, nobody ever offers the kid drugs.
No,
which
like,
is good.
And I think that's one of the good things about them is that like they really do look out for him. Like, even though a lot of them think he's a little bit older, they do find out that he's 15 and everything. But they're like, no, he's pretty sheltered. We'll keep him okay. We'll keep him okay.
He's a baby.
Yeah, he really is.
For sure.
And how horrible. I'm sorry. I like Frances McDormand. And I liked her mother character and everything.
She's fabulous.
I thought she was great. And she's just, she's a little bit clingy, but she's doing everything to just make sure her kids are all right, is all she's doing. And not in a mean way, not in a rude way, and not in an overly oppressive way. But never stop children from listening to music. That's just stupid.
She's pretty messed up.
Oh, yeah, she's messed up. But she's a college professor. But like, how do you lie to your child for so long that, like, they're 2 years, 2 years younger than they're supposed to be or whatever?
Well, he thinks he's 12 and he's actually 11.
No,
so
but he's in
2 grades.
Yeah, but he's in school with 13-year-olds.
Yeah.
And he believes he's 12, right? Because he found out something, but it turns out he's actually 11.
Yeah.
So really, it's 2 years off, and you're just like, how are you messing with your child? Don't do that.
Yeah.
That screws people up.
Yeah.
It really does.
Yeah, she's lucky he turned into an overachieving Rolling Stone reporter and not Lester Bangs. So
there you go. Yeah.
I really, really love the conversation she has with Russell on the phone. That's my favorite.
Yeah.
Where he just goes from like, hey mom, to like, oh, yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
Russell, it's not too late to become a person of substance.
But that actually made me annoyed. That annoyed me.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, I thought that was
like,
great.
No, like, I understand her speech and everything, but I don't understand. I'm not denying the fact that, yes, there's a lot of, it's sex, drugs, rock and roll. I get it. But just because you're a musician doesn't mean you're not a person of substance. It upset. Well, maybe it's just maybe it's just semantics in my book right now. But
the thing is, like, but I mean, he's sort of struggling with that himself, right? He doesn't really know what he wants, and he's like, I think that really hit him because he actually is sort of trying to do that, and that's why, like, at the end, he kind of pulls his act together and like he lets it break up, and he like tries to apologize to Penny, and he calls Rolling Stone and tells him to run the article. Like that is actually something, like, he's on a journey and he's trying to like figure out who he is and how he wants to whatever in the world. Yeah, and he has kidnapped a 15-year-old to be his party buddy. So like,
but my only thing is that
she's not entirely wrong about it.
She's not entirely wrong. But she's never met him before, so she doesn't know any of this. And all of that is coming from the fact that she thinks rock music is just about drugs and it's bad for you and keeping her children away from it and blah, blah, blah. And if you're a rock star or if you're in a band, you're not a person of substance,
for sure it's like prejudiced on her part. But she's also just like reaching out to him as a person and not as a rock star. See, but one thing good choices, One
thing I never understood about that, I'm like, why is it so different for you to play guitar, but if you play like a violin or a cello,
they do not get the Crosby drugs, my friend.
I'm sorry, have you talked to Yo-Yo Ma lately? You don't know. I got no. That's literally the only classical musician name I know.
Large assumptions, but you can't really jam it out on a cello,
but isn't there like that violin player who got like a special violin made for herself, and she like just does covers of like rock songs and stuff, and she's just like going at it.
Oh, sure. A lot of metal bands have violinists too. Which is pretty rad.
Yeah. Now this just reminds me of the Lollapalooza episode of The Simpsons where what is it? Cypress Hill has the Philharmonic behind them or whatever, and they do.
Awesome.
They do Insane in the Membrane. It's so good.
That does sound good.
So yeah, you can just put it in any way you want. I mean, look at like Childish Gambino and stuff. Like he's all into having classical instruments and orchestral stuff within his music.
My high school best friend used to smoke out her window, and she would always be blaring music, and she's always blasting Metallica, and her neighbors got really mad, so they would start blasting classical music back at her. This was like this ongoing war for about a year. Yeah. And then S&M came out, the Metallica album with a symphony in it. Yeah. And she was just like, do, I win. They never did it again. They were like, oh god. Now the metal has like Somebody, we can't do this.
We can't do this. This is not right.
They just started closing their window.
They're just like, now we can't block, because then it's the same thing.
Yeah.
Like, what are we doing right now?
We have been defeated by Metallica.
Yeah.
And their crazy big music.
Surprisingly, I never had that issue with, like, we had a very musical household. Everybody likes music in our house. Mm-hmm. But we all managed to kind of like the same stuff, which is weird. Because even growing up, like, me and my brother were totally, like, into hip-hop and all that kind of stuff. As long as it didn't have gratuitous swearing in it, my parents didn't care, and they kind of liked it, too. They're like, I'll be, like, going along with the song. They're like, shh, I'm kind of listening to the story. And I'm like, what?
That's awesome.
That's great, but it's about the beat. You gotta feel it, And then, like, my brother's, like, a trained jazz musician, so he was really into jazz and stuff, so there's lots of jazz in our house. But I also, like... I like pop music. I'm not gonna deny that fact. Whatever.
Oh,
but
I love pop music. Don't make that face.
Yeah.
Pop music.
Gotta get some good pop music. Yeah.
Pop music is designed to be really listenable.
Oh listenable. Is that even a word? Is that a word?
Yeah.
We're gonna go with it.
It's like it is like especially like really mainstream pop is like the best in the business all got together to make like a beautifully well produced, like well written song to get people's attention and make them want to listen to it.
Yeah.
Like.
And as soon as it makes money, it did its job.
Yeah, for sure. Mm-hmm. I mean, like whatever. Lots of people hate on it, but like well written pop songs are way harder to produce than like
they really are. Because like you re-listen to some of that stuff and you're just like, oh, this is actually like this is good stuff.
Yeah, I mean,
great. Lyrical
content. Yeah, whatever. But
I want it that way.
It's widely variable.
Yes.
Baby, oh, isn't going to really change anybody's life. But on the other hand, like, Motown is some of the best music out there. And
love
if you actually
Motown so much.
Sit down and listen to the lyrics, it's like, oh yeah, no, that's stupid.
Yeah. It's just like,
but
it's just like any other music at any point in time. There's a certain part of it that is pop music that just everybody likes. Yeah. And that goes from classical music till now. There's just a certain grouping that everybody can just get behind. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that goes back to like one of the other things is that I randomly started liking a lot of the stuff that was popular when my parents were my age and stuff. So I'd be sitting around, they'd put on a song and it's like some doo-wop or like some Motown or, just something, some funk or whatever. And I'd be singing along to it. They're like, you know this song? I'm like, yeah, this song is great. This is amazing. Blah, blah, blah.
It was a really great moment when I was like in my early 20s that I'd been previously stealing my dad's albums, of course, because like this kind of like 70s rock and whatever, Yeah. I was like, whatever, CCR is my jam.
Good. Yeah,
so,
like I don't understand.
I was listening, and then at some point, like I started buying more albums, whatever, when I wasn't living at home, and my dad would be like, huh, can I borrow that? Yes, you may.
Yeah, and then you just kind of get this like crossover of musical tastes, Yeah.
But yeah, and I think that's one of the reasons that I love this movie so much is that that's like the kind of music I really like. That kind of music.
Yeah, the music in it is great. Like it's just such good stuff in there. Yeah, really liked it. It's definitely
Led Zeppelin allowed them to use a song. They don't really do that so much.
Yeah,
they had to screen the film for them to convince them.
To really, I didn't know.
Yeah, so it ends with Tangerine.
Yeah.
They don't just. You can't just license Led Zeppelin songs for movies. I mean, it happens, but yeah,
you got to do a lot of work to get it.
Yeah, you got to send them a fruit basket, an appropriate groveling email or whatever.
Apparently they're okay with all of that.
Otherwise, probably every movie in creation would have Stairway in it, and we'd all be miserable.
That's true. Oh my god, yes. Oh, I like the fact that they make reference to a mojo in there, and it's like it sends pages over the telephone. Only takes like 18 minutes per page, aka a fax machine. But also 18 minutes a page. We would just throw things out of windows if it took that long to do.
Yeah, that was creative license. I fell down a bit of a rabbit hole reading Cameron Crowe interviews today.
Really?
It was only 8 minutes a page, but apparently they had like a primitive fax machine at the Rolling Stone office that they called the Mojo machine.
Yeah.
So that was just like a nickname for that particular one. And
really?
Thought it was funny. Yeah.
Okay.
So, it wasn't a fax, it was like a tele whatever the precursor
the precursor was, yeah.
But yeah, they actually called it the Mojo Machine. So
that's hilarious.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, no, there's some really interesting stuff out there. Actually, Rolling Stone's written some really interesting stuff about this movie, as you might imagine they would, given how,
it's the center point of the movie, yeah.
Well, yeah, exactly, and, like, I read at least one comment from Ben Fong Torres, who's like, yeah, obviously not everything happened exactly the way it is portrayed, but, creative license, fine. But yeah, it's kind of interesting because, like all the people that are in the room at Rolling Stone, like, they're all real people that were there, and everybody uses his name, like, their own names, and then Cameron Crowe was William, but he's, like, hiding behind this fake character that he's created, even though it's, like, very much autobiographical.
Wait, hold on, what? Okay, obviously I've missed something completely, and I obviously did not do my research into this movie.
Oh!
So...
This is mostly based on a true story.
What?
Oh my gosh. Okay.
Oh, I didn't know that. No, I legitimately did not know this. I just assumed, they're just like, oh, Rolling Stone, can we use your name in a thing?
No.
And it was like some fake band and whatever.
Okay, the band is fake.
Okay.
Stillwater it's like a mashup. So when Cameron Crowe was 15, he started writing for The Door in San Diego, and he met Lester Bangs. Mm-hmm. And Lester Bangs actually did give him like $35 to go write it.
So Lester Bangs is a real person.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah. Most of the people, yeah, like even the DJ who's interviewing, and like she was a real person. Like it's, it's all the Rolling Stone people. Like some of the people that are mentioned, like the band Stillwater it's a composite of different bands. Like it's not, but it's mostly based on the Allman Brothers.
Oh, okay.
And like that roadie, he meets Red Dog like right at the beginning. And I was like, oh yeah, Red Dog. Like the Allman Brothers had a legendary roadie named Red Dog who was with them through most of their career, and like so a lot of the people that show up that are named are real people.
Oh, I didn't know that at all.
Like, he went on the road with the Almonds when he was, and they got the cover of Rolling Stone when he was 16. He's like still the youngest they've ever had, I think, like regular.
Right.
And then he toured, like he didn't just tour with the Almonds, he toured with Zepp, and he toured with Leonard Skinner, and like if they're a big deal in that genre, he was probably on the road with them or cross paths with them.
I did not.
So
know
just like that
Kid
Vic is like a real guy, he was like a buddy, and there was a real Penny Lane. Mm-hmm. She, there were a few girls. Like they're pretty loosely based, I think. But yeah, they didn't call themselves Band-Aids, but there was a group of girls like that. But
I did not. Oh right.
Oh yeah, okay. No, that's one of the funny things he said is like, I mean, he, whatever, he these fudge stuff to make it make sense.
Yeah, yeah.
But said like once he was finished writing it, he sort of, a lot of people were just like, oh god, like how much debauchery did you get in there? And he said like he kind of felt weird that he hadn't had enough debauchery because as we just discussed, like there's actually not that much sex and not that many drugs. Like,
but it may actually be because like the character in the novel, he was sort of sheltered and didn't actually get to see any of it,
well,
or as much of it.
But also, it's the thing that he like the same way that William is the enemy, and they're not supposed to be doing this stuff in front of him. Like he got to be who he was, and he had like a really successful journalism career because he knew what to say and what not to say. Mm-hmm. So there was definitely stuff that he could have printed that he didn't. Okay. So so. Yeah, he's still keeping some of the secrets, and as a result, he got really good, like, up-close interviews with people like Greg Allman, who was, like, notoriously paranoid and not super forthcoming. Yeah, and about these some of like, the best writing about him is from Cameron Crowe. He was like, because, he had, like, he was, like, a little kid with boundless enthusiasm for the music, and, wasn't gonna sell them out, so. What? Yeah.
Okay, so that makes me appreciate this movie actually another level now.
Oh my god. You need to read the Wikipedia entry and then watch the extended version.
I will definitely watch. I will have to track down the extended version and watch it for sure, because I think there was definitely holes in this movie for me that was just, I was getting kind of frustrated by it because I'm like, what? Why is it? Are we jumping from here to here? And what happened in this part?
As I said, some of that's just like the hectic nature of the story, but a lot of that, like, there are gaps that are like things that are obviously missing. Yeah, from also like because Russell's such a central part of it, and he's actually like you never really see him having fun in the movie
unless he's on drugs. No, you know.
Yeah, but there's quite a bit of that, like that radio station interview I was talking about, and like when they're trying to get him to go to Ohio or whatever, and he's gonna miss his graduation.
Yeah.
I'm not going. And there's a scene where he freaks out and he's like kicking the laundry and he cries, whatever, and then he like falls asleep in the chair and he wakes up, and Penny and Russell just like stand right in front of him, so their faces are like in his, and they just go like, come to Ohio, come to Ohio, come to Ohio, at him, and like they're like giggling and whatever, and eventually he's just like, okay, whatever, like, but like just like lighthearted stuff like that.
Yeah.
He's not, usually he's watching Russell and Penny playing that way, but like they're including him in that, and like, yeah, there are a few scenes like that where Russell's like joking around and being silly or whatever, and it's like, okay, yeah, like this guy's not just like a moody jerk.
He's what he comes across as. Yeah.
Well, that's the thing. He and Jeff both look like total jerks in the original, but they're you can kind of see what's going on, and they're a lot more charming when you actually get to see them interacting like human beings and not rock stars. Yeah, because they like a lot of the time I find they seem to just take themselves way too seriously. Yeah, and I'm like, I know you're up and coming and whatever, but you're friends for a reason and all that kind of stuff, right? That's a problem that afflicts lead singers and guitarists the world over. Yeah. You would know what stage they're at. This is a common problem. Yeah. But yeah, it's nice to see them kind of like relax and not just be bitches. Yeah. I mean, I would have preferred to see them that way. Yeah. That's for sure. Yeah. Yeah, it's not gonna like magically change your opinion of the movie, but it might. I don't know. Cause like, how much do you actually like this movie? Like, I give it like 3 stars. Like, what made you buy it? I hadn't when I bought this movie I hadn't seen it before, and I got it in like, I don't think it was expensive or anything, but it was one of those things like, I should see this movie, so I bought it. And this was like, this is pre-Netflix, guys, so it wasn't like, and like, trying to download something was too long or whatever. So yeah, it was one of those things where I saw it somewhere for like $10 or less, and I was just like, oh, I haven't seen this yet, bought it, and that was it. Yeah. And then I watched it, I was like, oh, okay, now I've watched that. And it's not that I think it's a bad movie. Like, I actually find it quite... It's an Oscar-winning movie, and we all know that is a true testament to quality. I couldn't even keep a straight face. No, you could not. That's hilarious. Because at first I was just like, is she... Oh, no, there's the smile. There it is. Okay, gotcha. But yeah, and then when I finally watched it, I was just like, oh, now I've seen it, and okay. Like, it didn't blow my mind. It didn't make me like want to see the world differently or anything. I was just like, oh, it was like, I think it's nice. Like it's a movie that's nice. Did you just say my favorite movie is nice? Oh no. Oh dear. I'm in trouble now. You really are. My God. Look, maybe if I watch the extended edition, I may change my mind. Yeah. You don't know. It might help. I don't know. I mean, this movie is like designed with me in mind. Sort of. Yeah. Like it checks a lot of boxes for me. So. But that's the thing. It's like, it's not, I think technically it is a good movie because like, I think all the actors are really good. Oh yeah. And the way the scenes are set up are really good. But I don't know, it's just kind of like, I don't know, sometimes the, like the dialogue, for example, gets a little bit too on the nose and like, guess what? This is an important thing I'm going to say right now. Blah, and I'm just like, now you're just full of yourself. But then other, like I said, other parts, it just like, you kind of relax into the experience of the movie and like the nostalgia of it. It just seems like a content place to be at certain points, and then it just gets full of itself again. And I'm just like, oh God, you're ruining it. Don't do that. I mean, that's sort of how rock stars and musicians are. Maybe I just haven't been around enough rock stars and musicians. I probably have a higher tolerance for those kinds of shenanigans. Yeah. For those of you who don't know, I work in music. And I have, in fact, lived with a band in a van for a month in my past. So, no buses. Yeah. Just a van. It was great. So you know all about it. Yeah. I know something about it anyway. And, it just... I don't know. It is probably... And it might... If I had to pick a favorite movie, it actually might be... Right up there? Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Well, yeah. I don't know. I mean... Like, I think it connects to you on a very personal level. That's why it's... And found family stories always interest me, too. Mm-hmm. Because, like, it's a super dysfunctional one, but it is essentially a family, and that's sort of how the best bands work on the road, for sure. Mm-hmm. And, I don't know. It's interesting. It's also interesting... like, from the perspective of the Band-Aids, because, I mean, yes, they do want to meet the rock stars, and yes, they want to be part of that life, but but also, like, when it comes down to it, it is about the music.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, I mean, to varying degrees, everybody can sympathize with the concept of, like, loving a musical artist, like, loving their work so much and being frustrated with what their personhood is doing to their artistic output.
Yeah.
You know? Like, and so, and yeah, it might be, oh, like, I'm working with this band and I love them, they can't get their shit together, and, like, I wish that they were, you know, more music, less nonsense, less drama. Or it's, you know, more, like, separate thing where it's like, well, I love this artist, but they haven't put out an album in a while because, you know,
yeah, they're just being stupid. Yeah.
Something is happening in their life, or like, oh, they made this album, they were like obviously messed up on drugs and it's not like the quality that it should be, or like, oh, I was gonna go to this concert, now they're in rehab.
Yeah.
Which is not to say that, you know, whatever, everyone's got their struggles and there are people behind the music, but also you can love the music so passionately and hate what's going on with the people making it. And that's, these guys, like, they let themselves lose track of that in the, like, whirlwind of the day-to-day tour, but that's what's happening, and that's why it's not sustainable, right? It's like a constant struggle to be like, okay, like, I'm a real person, you're a real person, and we're, you know, divorced from this lifestyle. So, I don't know. I find it fascinating. I find the dynamics fascinating.
No, it's, like, I find it interesting. It's just, I don't connect on it that level, I guess.
Yeah, that's fair.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I love music. I do love music. Like, I love listening to it, and I like lyricism, and I like, you know, tones and beats and layers and all that kind of stuff. But I have a very hard time focusing on specific artists, you know, because I think it's because of things like that. Like, you know, their like, yes, you have to have a personality to make the music and all that kind of stuff, but when that personality starts destroying your own music, then it's just not worthwhile anymore. And I think, like, I will always love certain songs, whether they're a one-hit wonder or a person who's been around for 50 years, but there are always specific songs from these people that I will love. But yeah, like, I don't get lost in that, like, drama. I have no want to be, you know, a Band-Aid or one of the people who follows them on, like, road trips around the country, you know, when they're doing...
Oh, you're not a Fish fan?
No, I'm not. Not even.
Fair,
for years, I was like, what the hell is Fish? And then I heard a Fish song and I was like, why? Why is Fish? Like, I was just, no.
That is a cosmic question.
Leah
and I stayed at a hotel across from Madison Square Garden the weekend that there were back-to-back Fish shows, and the lobby was amazing.
Yeah, I believe it.
You could have cast the extras for this movie on those couches, my friend.
I would not be surprised.
It was great.
I would not be surprised.
We're gonna go see a Broadway show, but have a great time, y'all.
You guys have a good time looking at Fish.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. I'm gonna be on Broadway.
Yes. Yes. My music taste is eclectic.
Yeah.
As well.
Yeah.
But
it's
yeah.
all over the place.
Anyway, I don't know. Yeah, no, I love this movie to tiny people.
It's good. Like, it's good.
It's nice. It's good.
I keep trying to
Next
think of,
up,
like...
Tracy declares Almost Famous fine. It's all happening.
Oh, ladies and gentlemen, if I turn up dead, it's because Alix killed me. Just an FYI.
Because... Oh, I'm much more creative than that. Don't be ridiculous.
They'll never find me. You just admitted to it, so they know.
No,
They'll be looking out for it now.
Suddenly your TV starts turning on in the middle of the night. Fever dog! Yeah.
Jesus God. I'll be like, what's happening? Done.
All still water all the time in your house until the Stockholm Syndrome kicks in and you admit the majesty of this thing.
Well, you know, at that point, I guess, you know, threats of destruction of my life come into play. I think we should end podcast.
But I have 873 more things to say about Almost Famous.
I would not be surprised, actually. The way you're going, you're just like, I have all these angles and things like that. Yeah. Is there any one thing that you think, like, you really need to get off your chest? Like, you really want people to, like, know and say and stuff?
No, I think I've pretty much said, I've at least skimmed over the high points.
The high points of it? Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah. It's just fascinating to me. Oh, except we didn't mention Zooey Deschanel and how she's like hilariously perfect.
Oh yes, this crazy stewardess. Yes, yeah. When I saw her, I was like, she was in this movie.
Everybody's in this movie. Every single person that's in this movie is like, oh hey, it's that guy.
Yeah, it's true. It's like every time they're like, oh, it's that guy. Oh, there's that guy.
There are
oh, there's
deliberate
that
cameos, but also it's just like, oh, all of these people have subsequently become famous. Like,
yeah, exactly.
They were almost famous, and now they're actually famous.
Now they're actually famous.
Say that 6 times fast.
I love it. Yeah. So yeah, this movie did its job then, I think. Anyway, sure.
You're just like, save me. Save me from this.
Gotta go now.
Screed of love for this terrible woman.
No, I don't think either of these movies are terrible in actual movie senses. I mean, American Beauty is terrible for different things right now.
I need to shower again.
Yeah. I brought it back up. You're welcome. Yes. And Almost Famous is, good.
Still holding out for a fine. Keep talking, Tracy.
Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah. All right.
There you go.
There we go.
You got it. It's all set.
Well, if anybody wants to talk about Almost Famous, don't talk to Tracy, talk to me.
Yes. Well, I just want to say thank you so much for coming and doing this.
Well, thank you for having me.
It was lovely having a chat with you, and you should definitely come back and we can talk more about other things and find movies.
You should have uninvited me after Christmas.
I know. I'd be like, no, not allowed. It's fine. Well, that's it for this week's episode of Off My Shelf. You can follow Off My Shelf on Twitter and Instagram at ohmyshelf. Or you can send me emails at ohmyshelf@gmail.com. Next time, we'll be talking about the movies American Splendor and Animal House. Another set of favorites, I guess. Actually,
That's
no.
quite a range.
That is quite a range, yeah. American Splendor is not a movie that a lot of people in my circles know, I've realized.
I don't.
It's a really good movie, actually. It was my introduction to Paul Giamatti. He's really good in it. And yeah, well, we'll talk about it next time, won't we? and then there's Animal House. It's Animal House. It's fine. Everybody knows that. Anyways, hope you'll be here to listen.